In today's news, CHINNERY of Jos Van Dyke identified as accident victim. Tributes and condolences continue to flow for Carvin Malone. Maynard's sentencing pushed to February 2024. HODGE breaks a 20-year-old U.S. high school national record. Members for appeal tribunal are needed. And Buck Island recap with Lord Sebastian. PAHO reports rise in respiratory virus cases. We have the details of this and so much more when 284 News returns.
At Higher BVI, we're not just about business. We're about empowering lives, and that is because we aspire to inspire. By choosing us, you're supporting a company that believes in equal opportunities, diversity, and community growth. Our mission goes beyond profit. It's about providing HR solutions, fostering talent, and leaving a positive impact. Join us in building a better future, a better BVI. Choose Higher BVI, where your support isn't just a transaction, it's a transformation. Together, we're changing lives in these beautiful Virgin Islands.
One Stop Auto, located in the R&R Malone complex, Parkwood Pond, is having a huge liquidation sale on all inventory, excluding vehicles and genuine Toyota and Lexus parts. Get no less than 50% off all items on shelves and inventory room. Items such as car covers, steering wheel covers, wipers, sealants, chemicals, emergency cones, adhesives, license plates, frames, air filters, oil filters, front brakes, front rotors, rear rotors, radiators, shocks, and much more. A specific listing of all makes and models for which parts are available at liquidation prices will be posted on our Facebook page. Hello everyone and welcome to this edition of 284 News. It is Tuesday, January 16th, 2024. I'm Ron Grant, bringing you the very latest out of Tortola in the Virgin Islands. Happy Tuesday is wished to each and every one of you. Beginning our newscast on devastating news, Mr. CHINNERY of Jos Van Dyke has been identified as the territory's most recent accident victim. CHINNERY died yesterday, Monday, January 15th, 2024, after being involved in a boating accident on Jos Van Dyke. Information surrounding the circumstances of the incident are still being investigated. However, eyewitness reports have confirmed that CHINNERY was pulled from the water at Jos Van Dyke after he appeared to have suffered a seizure and fell overboard. After being pulled from the water, he was rushed to Tortola by the Virgin Islands Search and Rescue Services before being transported to the Dr. D. Orlando Smith Hospital by ambulance. Prior to being sent to the Dr. D. Orlando Smith Hospital, CHINNERY was said to be unconscious and Visor Personal attempted CPR. The local businessman was well known in Jos Van Dyke by locals and visitors with the charter boat industry. He is known for selling, or was known, for selling hot patties in the early morning to boaters, a service locals and visitors have grown to love. The owners, management, and staff of CCT, BVI Cable TV, and 284 Media express our condolences to the family of the late KENROY CHINNERY. The tributes and condolences continue to flow following the untimely passing of the former Minister for Health and Social Development, the one and only Carvin Malone. Malone passed away on Sunday, January 14th, at the Dr. D. Orlando Smith Hospital after being reportedly found unresponsive. Premier of the Virgin Islands, Dr. the Honorable Natalia D. Wheatley, described Malone's passing as shocking and heart-wrenching, and he labeled the former legislator as a champion for the Virgin Islands. He said, and I quote, "While we mourn his loss, we remember him for the sterling trails he possessed. Carvin Malone lived a life of dedicated service to his community. He was a proud and dedicated member of the Lions Club of Tortola, having served as its president on a number of occasions. He was also a former president of the BVI Chamber of Commerce and Hotel Association. He also served as vice president of the BVI Amateur Basketball Association. Whenever he had the opportunity to serve, he took it," Premier Wheatley stated. And the Speaker of the House of Assembly, the Honorable Corinne George Massicott, in her statement on behalf of the members and staff of the House of Assembly, described Malone's contributions to the territory as immeasurable, stating that he left an indelible mark on both of the BVI's legislative landscape and on the hearts of the people he served. She said, and I quote, "As the Minister for Health and Social Development, He demonstrated unwavering commitment, particularly during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. His leadership and resilience in the face of this unprecedented crisis were instrumental in steering our community through challenging times. She continued, in addition to his role as minister, Mr. Malone served briefly in the opposition, showcasing his commitment to the democratic ideals that underpin our parliamentary system and our journey to self-determination. His willingness to bridge divides and work collaboratively for the greater good exemplified his statesmanship. First District Representative Dr. the Honorable Carl Dawson also reflected on his experience with Malone, who he considered a friend and a mentor, in an emotional video on social media. Dawson highlighted his most memorable conversation with the late Malone, stating that the former minister never once betrayed his trust. Take a look.
Good morning, Virgin Islanders. Good morning, people of the First District. Good morning, Virgin Island Party members and supporters. This is your First District Representative Carl Dawson, a junior minister. And I wanted to just take a few minutes this morning to share my thoughts, my experience with my friend and colleague, Kevin Malone, for all those who would take a few minutes to listen. Kevin was somebody who totally loved the Virgin Islanders, and I am proud to have called him my friend. I extend condolences to Pernice and Kirsten, all his siblings, and so many of us who mourn his loss today. I first got an awareness of Calvin like in 1976. I saw his picture really in the 1976 BVA High School yearbook there as an athlete, so I didn't really know him at that time in the 70s. In the 80s, I got to know him a little bit better because he was one of the leaders, along with Mark Vanterpool, who to me lifted basketball in the Virgin Islands during that period. Others would come along, MB and others, but those were two guys, in my view, who really helped to lift basketball in the territory. So at that point, I got to know him a little bit, but it was more of an admiration for his leadership skills and his drive to get things done. And then in the 90s, our paths crossed at H. Lavely Stout Community College. Of course, the vision of Stout to start the college in the face of difficulties, and Calvin was right there on the very first board of the college, and I joined the college in 1992. So I was the first faculty representative on the board of the college, and so that's where I started to work alongside Calvin, trying to move forward that organization. And that's where I would say our friendship began. Into the 2000s now, later on as my career progressed, I later on became vice president and then president of the college. And so in a sense now Calvin now became my boss as a member of the board. And he was one who would always seek to hold you to account, but also at the same time was a very supportive member of the board. That is to say that the president and the board had to have a partnership in order to move the college forward. So that was really the beginning of our real genuine friendship between Calvin and myself. And then into the next decade, into the teens, then was a question of politics, because that's when, and even before that, Calvin started to encourage me into the arena of politics. So what I'm going to say in the next few minutes probably will be just what so many others who he has encouraged to get involved in electoral politics. He was probably in the 2000s early, where I remember he brought me down to a meeting in Cane Garden Bay to meet with some of the guys trying to convince me to run for the 2nd district seat. And for me, the timing was not right, and I did not pursue it. But again, he was a guy moving that agenda and moving things forward. Fast forward into 2015. And again, 2014, 2015, continued to encourage me about seeking elected office. And I remember one conversation, one time we were up on the balcony on the porch of the college cafeteria, when was pretty much the time when I decided that I would contest the 2015 elections. And of course it was a snap election, so you had to move very quickly. And that period there, it turns out I was not successful in winning a seat, but I consider the experience to be very successful and many lessons learned. I love working alongside people like Calvin, people like Chichi Smith, and all those who were working hard on that 2015 campaign. Move forward now to 2019. So in 2019, And up to last Wednesday, I was in Calvin's office and he reminded me again. He said, you remember, he said in 2019, I made a trip to Anguilla to see you because he wanted to know if I was planning to run in the 2019 election. He encouraged me that I should, but he was also understanding of the reasons why I told him I did not want to leave the job having not long taken it. So he said, well, the thing is, if you're not going to do it, Carl, I will do it. So that's what's there, and I was very supportive of him as far as his campaign and his decision to contest, and I was very happy when he won the seat in 2019 and became the Minister of Health. But one of the conversations I remember most with Calvin and myself, we were talking about politics. This is probably 2015, and how politics could really be a dirty business, and you can't trust anybody. And I said to Calvin, I know it's a business. You can't trust anybody. But I said, Calvin, I trust you. Calvin Malone, I trust you. And up to the end, he never betrayed my trust. Whether through 2019, 2015, all the way up to last Wednesday when we last spoke, he never betrayed my trust. We didn't agree on everything. We had a little battles and fights on certain things, but he never betrayed my trust. I think Calvin Malone, and as father or we go into history, he will be regarded as a great Virgin Islander. And I am very, very proud to be able to say that he was my friend. Thank you.
Meanwhile, outside of the territory, the United States Virgin Islands Governor Albert Bryan Jr. also sent his condolences on behalf of the government and residents of the United States Virgin Islands. Bryan described Malone as a distinguished statesman and said it was also a pleasure to work with him while he served as the Minister for Health and Social Development. Honorable Bryan said, and I quote, his collaborative spirit shone brightly during our joint efforts to combat COVID-19, where I, alongside our Health Commissioner, Justa Imarkachon, had the privilege to work closely with him through the Inter-Virgin Islands Council. This partnership significantly strengthened the ties between our islands, addressing shared matters of vital importance. Bryan added, we honor his legacy and remember his profound commitment to the well-being of our communities. The most heartfelt condolences go out to Mr. Malone's family, the Virgin Islands Party, of which he was a revered former president, and to all of the people of the British Virgin Islands. His loss is deeply felt by us all. The sentencing of former BVI Ports Authority Managing Director Ovaline Pickering Maynard has been pushed back once again by a few weeks after a number of delays came about in the drug and money laundering trial of the former Premier Andrew Foy. As part was previously reported, the trial of the former Premier was reset to January 22nd pending the outcome of several motions filed by the prosecution and defense. Maynard's leads the prosecution's list of witnesses and will now be sentenced on February 22nd instead of the previous January 18th date that had been scheduled. Foy, 53, is charged with one count of conspiracy to import a controlled substance, conspiracy to engage in money laundering, and attempted money laundering in addition to interstate and foreign travel in aid of racketeering. Maynard and Foy were arrested in Miami after they both allegedly conspired together with her son Kadeem Maynard and agreed to allow large amounts of cocaine to pass through the BVI's ports as part of a multi-million-dollar deal he is alleged to have made with the informant of the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, who was posing as a drug trafficker at the time. Maynard has admitted in a plea agreement that she introduced the DEA informant to Foy, and together they used their authority to facilitate the secret cocaine smuggling plan. She is predicted to offer crucial evidence against Foy after accepting the plea agreement for a lesser sentence. Viewers, up next we have more on the local scene. We'll be right back after a quick commercial break. Some claim that the age of a true gentleman is far behind us, but here at 284 Media, we disagree. He may appear in different guises today, but the values and ideals that make him a gent still stand. 284 Media proudly presents The Art of a Distinguished Gentleman with yours truly, Ron Grant, a show poised to help guide modern-day men into 21st century distinguished gentlemen. Don't worry, it's not all about suits and bow ties, but raw, real-life lessons that translate to grounded, community-minded, well-rounded men. The Art of a Distinguished Gentleman, Season 5, a 284 Media production.
Yo, everything good, Dad?
Why? This thing got me one way, Daddy.
What do you mean?
Ever since I hook up with this thing, I can't eat, I can't sleep. This is the first thing I touch it when I reach home.
What do you really? Hey, this ain't like you,
Dad, this thing got me staying home, keeping out of trouble me.
Wow. What's your name is?
Shit, I talking about my CCT life.
Don't worry about missing your favorite series, sports, news, and local programming. Come to CCT today and sign up for CCT Live to access over 80 channels. CCT Live. Bring it home.
1 month free trial turn into 5. 5 months turn into, well, you know I watching ball. I been watching football. Dad, Nickelodeon, Paw Patrol. I am hooked. Hooked, I tell you.
Welcome back, everyone, and thank you so much for sticking with us. Continuing on, the British Virgin Islands' Adasia Hodge and the United States Virgin Islands' Michelle Smith helped their Montrevat Academy College to a new high school national record at the 4x400 meter indoors relay at the VA Showcase event last weekend, competing against the Bullis School on Saturday in a final that was set to feature 3 teams. Montrevat Academy stormed to the finish with a time of 3.63 seconds, erasing a nearly 20-year record formerly held by Long Beach Poly. Hodge and Smith were accompanied by Alvia Williams and Skylar Franklin, a group of 3 seniors and a sophomore, who officially split 54.10, 53.79, 54.75, and 55 seconds. Here's a look at those highlights.
And we're underway, a fair start between Bullis School and Montverde Academy.
So Hodge setting the tone here for Montverde. I think that's a great decision by Coach Gerald Feary. Hodge is the type of person that understands how to race and when to put forth maximal effort.
They will break for the rail. Hodge with a slight advantage. 25 seconds after the opening 200, and she really hit the throttle there. Started to stretch things out.
Yeah, extending the gap here on Bullis. This is going to be a really hard objective for that first runner there for Bullis, because Hodge is just a superstar. She's going to hand off to her teammate, Michelle Smith.
53 high, 54 low for Adasia Hodge.
And that's a really good carry from the British Virgin Islands athlete. I think in due time she's going to run the 400 enough. She could get down to 52, maybe even 51.
So Smith now on the baton for Montverde Academy.
Smith has that natural middle distance form, really has power and drive, and is able to really push forth on this short distance here. So doing a great job right now, maintaining the lead, even extending it a little bit.
We'll check in at 800 meters and give you a final guesstimate. Is there a 147 high? So 334 a possibility.
I think it's there. It really will be dependent on this 3rd and 4th carry for Montverde. These girls, I think, are younger, so the experience might not be there necessarily, but they know the stakes, they know the pressure. They are all in it. They're putting themselves in great position to make a dent in it. So this next 200 is going to be very critical. Bull is still hanging in there, 50 meters back.
Montverde Academy, Bullis School, a two-team race. The USATF Girls 4x4 Relay on day 2 of this year's VA Showcase. Phil Grove and Corey Mall bringing you all the action in the middle of a great Saturday in Virginia Beach. 2:42.
I said I loved the decision to start out with Hodge. I really like the decision to finish with Franklin because she is a sophomore. She needs some of this responsibility and trust in her to get the job done. This is going to give her a lot of confidence if she's able to carry this home for Montverde and give them a record that they can walk away with.
To the line at 3:07 high.
Going to be close, Phil.
2004 Long Beach Poly 3:38.91.
Skylar Franklin, a phenomenal talent, one of the best freshmen in the country in 2023. 2024 is going to be the next year, though. Let's see what she can do.
3:30 right now. She's got 8 seconds to get to the line.
Oh, will this national record go down? Phil, I think it will.
It does. A new national record for Montverde Academy, 3:37.63.
Earlier at the event, Hodge ran a U.S. number 4 all-time performance at the 300-meter distance to win that race in a time of 36.97 seconds. Hodge also ran a U.S. number 9 all-time performance in the girls' 60-meter final with a time of 7.42 seconds, finishing second to Mia Brashi-Peterson, who won in 7.22 seconds. The government of the Virgin Islands is seeking qualified persons to serve as members of the Physical Planning Appeals Tribunal. The Appeals Tribunal was established under the Physical Planning Act 2004 and is under the portfolio of the Premier's office. Its purpose is that of the hearing of appeals during the Physical Planning Act 2004 to examine issues between the authority and applicants to determine the merits of the appeals of the authority's decisions. Prospective candidates must have special talent, skill, and knowledge in contributing to governance and policy direction of the Appeals Tribunal, which may include experience, understanding of basic tribunal procedures, business, and a enthusiasm for work of the organization, a willingness to learn tribunal skills, technical skills, and the ability to listen. Applicants must reside in the Virgin Islands and meet all the conditions of eligibility, as well as have the professional competencies and a balance of skills that match the mandate and responsibilities of the Physical Planning Appeals Tribunal. Tribunal members must possess the requisite knowledge, experience, and or training in physical planning sectors, including land development matters, environmental, coastal, and marine matters, agriculture, commerce and industry, economic and financial matters, crown land, housing infrastructure, and utilities, and other areas relevant to physical planning. Applicants must have a bachelor's degree or 10 years experience in planning, architecture, building designs, building engineering, environmental design, and or 8 years experience as a professional in an area of the aforementioned physical planning sectors and have demonstrated understanding of physical and land development. Of course, for the further requirements, they are available on our 284 Media website. And up next, we have more on the local and regional scene. We'll be right back after a quick commercial break.
Treatments with Beyond the Reef. Today we are doing shark research. So today we are doing whale research with Beyond the Reef. And wherever I go, I take CCT with me because my life is unlimited.
Yo, everything good there?
Bye. This thing got me one way that day.
What you mean?
Ever since I hook up with this thing, I can't eat, I can't sleep. This is the first thing I touch it when I reach home.
What you really? Hey, this ain't like you, know?
Dad, this thing got me staying home, keeping out of trouble me.
Wow. What your name is?
She? I talking about my CCT life.
Don't worry about missing your favorite series, sports, news, and local programming. Come to CCT today and sign up for CCT Live to access over 80 channels. CCT Live. Bring it home.
1 month free trial turn into 5. 5 months turn into, well, you know I watching ball. I even watching football. Dad, Nickelodeon, Paw Patrol. I am hooked. Hooked, I tell you.
Rashford made it. Manchester United have come from behind to lead.
At home or on the go, watch CCT Live. Download our app and carry your favorite TV shows, news, or live sports anywhere you go. Visit cctbvi.com/live, select your package, and tune in.
Welcome back and thank you so much for sticking with us. Continuing on Saturday, January 13th, the 284 Media joined the BVI Athletics Association and President of World Athletics, Lord Sebastian, on Buck Island for a fundraising activity which was geared at benefiting local athletes. Let's take a look at the day's activities.
lot of the athletes were asking me about what is the balance between the physical prowess and the ability to support that, sustain it through mental resilience. And I can only answer that in a personal way, and that is that if I knew that I was in supreme physical condition, no stone had been left unturned, and I knew I would walk into a race, there's no certainty of outcome, you know, you're going to win or you're going to lose, but I never feared going into a race because I knew that everything I'd done under normal circumstances was probably so much more detailed, and in a way so much tougher than the rest of the field, that I was never worried about what was ever going to be thrown at me. Kieran will be thinking all the time about, of course, getting into the best possible physical and mental shape for the challenge of Paris, and I know he's really excited about that, and my instinct is he could do really well, he could win it. But he's also, in his quieter moments, going to be wondering, he'll be trying to, figure out and find out what they're doing in training and how well they're going, and and it's a balance. You don't want to be so absorbed in what other people are doing, but actually it's inevitable, and it's a huge incentive, but it's what people remember.
And on the regional scene, the Pan American Health Organization reports increasing circulation of SARS, of course, influenza and respiratory syncytial virus across the Americas in recent weeks. In a recent epidemiological update, PAHO said higher levels of acute respiratory infections have been observed since August of 2023, especially in North America and the Andean region, Brazil, and the Southern Cone. The COVID-19 situation remains at moderate to high levels in North America, with the United States and Canada seeing elevated hospitalizations. Of course, influenza cases have also surpassed seasonal thresholds in 3 countries, along with a pronounced rise in RSV. Now, some Caribbean nations like Belize and St. Lucia are recording SARS actively above epidemic levels. PAHO advised that health systems remain vigilant and prepared to handle potential uptakes in respiratory illnesses. Protocols for clinical management of severe cases, use of antivirals where appropriate, and targeted vaccination are also highlighted as key actions in PAHO's guidance. With multiple respiratory viruses co-circulating, PAHO stressed integrated messaging is needed to promote prevention measures like hand hygiene, masks, and avoidance of crowds when sick. Viewers, that is it for today's news roundup. Be sure to follow us for your daily news updates at tweet4media.com, and of course, like us on Facebook at tweet4media and tweet4bvi on Instagram and Twitter. I'm Ron Grant. I'll see you again tomorrow. Have a safe and enjoyable evening. Happy Tuesday. Goodbye.